From the opening tip, where's my camera?
Yeah.
Tuesday night, Tyrese Haliburton was impressive, recording a historic triple-double, 32 points, 15 assists, and 12 rebounds without committing a turnover to lead the Pacers to a 130-121 victory that gave them a commanding 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Meanwhile, the Knicks are one loss away from going home. Here's Brunson and Kat after a very tough night.
We weren't disciplined tonight. I wasn't disciplined tonight. Maybe we just gotta be smarter. I gotta be smarter. It's really that black and white.
We all gotta be better. We all gotta be better for him, with him. We gotta be better as a team. So it's unfortunate we all, couldn't find a way to win tonight. That we found a way in all the other series to do it.
JWill, I'd like to start with you since you have the best outfit on today. What went wrong for the Knicks?
I kind of feel like sometimes when I watch Kat and Jalen Brunson, I wonder if that's a little bit of fool's gold, right? Obviously, I know what Kat can do offensively, but where they were defensively is the problem. Now, look, last night, 17 turnovers, 22 points in transition for Indy. But there were so many times, Doggy and SA, where I watched where Kat wasn't even in the screen defensively when these possessions were going through and how fast these fast breaks were. And when I have people at the game that are talking to me about Tibbs telling Kat in a game 4 that you can't jog back on defense. I mean, go watch the tape. I slept down there 2 hours last night watching a lot of this tape over and over, and there are so many plays where I don't see Kat in the play. So at some point, when you turn the ball over, that's one thing, not valuing the ball. But then when there's not a sense of urgency defensively in a game 4, now I know that they play more minutes than a lot of other starters. But in a game like this, when your rotation is what it is, and Tibbs is playing 9, 10 guys now, if you get tired, ask your ass to come out the game. You're hindering your team. So for me, it was turnovers, and it was the lack of defensive intensity to allow a team to shoot 51% from the field and 41% from the three-point line.
Mad Dog?
Yeah, I just think Indiana, I'm not going to get specific about this one. I just think Indiana's a better team. I have been shocked that people think the Knicks have more talent. Well, how is that possible? Indiana plays 10, 11 guys. Knicks don't. Mathurin comes in the game last night, big draft pick out of Arizona, and scores 15 points in 12 minutes in the game. Naismith can score. The kid comes in and makes the 2 threes. Stewart, who comes, comes in and makes a couple threes. You know that Nebhard didn't do anything last night. He can score. Haliburton has a career game.
Mathurin can score,
Mathurin had a big game. Siakam can score. Miles Turner makes a contribution. McConnell does. They got 3 point guards. McConnell comes in and does a decent job. I mean, theoretically, I don't think the Knicks are as good as Indiana. So we can analyze the game, and you're right. He had the timeout huddle, and he was mad, Thibodeau, about the lack of hustle in some sequences. They gave up way too many points in the first half, at least the first part of the game. But I think when you get right down to it, I think Indiana's just better than the Knicks. I would have picked them to win the series if they had the home court. They didn't. The Knicks were unlucky in game 1 with him getting hot in Naismith. So the series probably should be 2-2. But before we break everything down, nuts and bolts and this, that, and the other, let's just be a basketball fan and say, hold on now, okay? They got 10 guys. We got about 6.5 guys. When we play Robinson and Hart together, we have 2 guys who can't score. Bridges was terrible last night. And they got a lot of guys. Indiana is a very, very good team. So I'm going to chalk it up to the fact that the Pacers may just be better, and that's why they're up 3-1.
All right, Stephen A. So we have JWill saying that Kat and Brunson are fool's gold. Mad Dog saying Indy's just the better team. Where are you on this?
I'm in no position to refute them. I'm not a delusional, disgusting, nauseating fan like the Dallas Cowboy fans are. I'm a New York Knicks fan, which makes me a realist. The fact of the matter is Jay is absolutely right with what he's saying. Doggy is absolutely right with what he is saying. But I also would like to throw this caveat in there. Doggy, yes, the Indiana Pacers are a better team. They're certainly a better coach. There's no denying that. It's not to throw shade on Tom Thibodeau. It's to highlight the greatness of a Rick Carlisle, who is a champion as a coach. This man can coach his butt off. It's just that simple, okay? And we forget that even before he won a championship in Dallas, Jay, he had taken the Detroit Pistons to a conference finals before he ultimately was replaced. Larry Brown came in, and then Larry Brown ultimately won the championship. So we got to look at it. I think it was the semifinals or the finals, conference finals. I keep forgetting. But Rick Carlisle had proven himself. He was the coach of the year in Detroit as well. So let's not forget the fact that this man is an exceptional coach. And come playoff time, Doggy, you've known this because you've been covering sports for decades. And Jay, obviously, you were an all-world collegiate player, and you would have been a great pro player if you had gotten injured. Y'all both know this. Coaching starts from the beginning, meaning training camp, preseason, the beginning of the season, in terms of your preparation for a team as the season wanes and ultimately the playoffs arrive. We're seeing that's the difference between a Rick Carlisle and a Tom Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau's got 5 starters. You will ride until the wheels come off. Jay, I'm not going to hold Karl Anthony Towns, but so accountable. He has been hobbled for the last 3 games. If you watch him, even when he scored 20 points in the fourth quarter, he barely gets off the floor. He's gimpy throughout. He's been writhing in pain over the last 3 games or so. That's what I've been watching. So I wasn't surprised at all in terms of the defensive lapses because he has been playing hurt. He's never that healthy in his lower extremities to begin with his size 21 feet, his legs, the way he comes down, he doesn't get high off the court. Well, we all see this, and we've seen this in Karl Anthony Towns throughout the years, but especially this year. But if you're the New York Knicks, you give up 43 points in the first quarter. That was egregious. That's number one. Then we got to take into account some of these stats that I'm going to throw out to you, Doggy, because they do matter, because they accentuate your point. Do you know that the Pacers have outscored the Knicks 86-33 in points off turnovers in this series? Did you know that they're outscoring the Knicks 65-23 on fast break points? That's a 42-point difference, okay? All right, and then you got the 86-33 for points turnovers, which I just said to you, which is a 53-point difference. So collectively speaking, the Indiana Pacers do have a better team. We thought the Knicks would have their way because New York Knicks have home court advantage. They got a starting 5 led by the clutch player of the year in Jalen Brunson, who's a first-team All-NBA player, Karl Anthony Towns, who's an All-NBA player as well, even though Haliburton is too. And we said to ourselves, if those starting 5 can give you what we know they can give you on their home court, this is what you should have. The New York Knicks blew game 1. That changed the complexion of the entire series, okay? And so you have to look at it from that standpoint and just say to yourself, you're up 17 with over 6 minutes left. You're up 14 with 2:50 left. You're up 9 with 52 seconds left. And you find a way to blow that game. And then you look at stuff like that, and then Siakam comes out and he just destroys you in game 2. So you had Haliburton and the crew and Nesmith with 6 threes. 3 in the last 20 seconds of regulation, okay? And then that happens in game 1. Siakam comes back, hits you in game 2. The New York Knicks should have easily been in a position where right now this series was at the very least 2-2. But when you blow a game like that, it comes back to haunt you, and that's what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, here's the one thing I would say, and I know we'll probably do a little of this later, which I'll expound. This series isn't over yet. Okay? This series isn't over yet. Okay. The Knicks...
Speak for yourself.
Oh, it's not over yet. I have a lot of faith in the Knicks with their resiliency.
I don't think it's over yet either.
I think they're going to win Game 5. Now, Game 6...
Wait, you mean it's not over, like the Knicks can win it?
Yes.
I'm not saying the Knicks can't win a game.
No,
you think the Knicks might win this series?
Well, not might. They can.
Can I give you something I think is really good for you to hear, okay? So out of the Knicks starters compared to Indiana starters, the Knicks starters have played a total of 3,033 minutes.
For the year now.
No.
15 games. 15 games more.
For the playoffs.
For the playoffs. Okay.
Indiana's, 2,293 minutes. That's a difference of 740 minutes. That's 15 games more.
You can see it on the screen.
And by the way, they don't have depth. Now, Tibbs gives credit for the last 2 games playing 9-10, but they ain't a 9-10 rotational team. They 7. So at some point, when you go through Detroit, a dogfight. When you go through Boston, a dogfight. At some point, physical and mental fatigue catch up to you, man.
Hold on, Jay.
I agree.
It's a big thing.
Well, the Pacers have a much better bench than they got 1 through 10. They have better players than the Knicks do. Go ahead there, Steve.
They have a better bench. They have more depth. They have a better bench. But that starting 5 that you just brought up, Jay, we also have to point to this. Like, for example, you got Mikal Bridges. He has these little spurts where he gets clicking, he's making shots. But the vast majority of the games, he's not making no shots. And you're looking at him and you're saying, listen, more's expected of you, brother. I know you can ball. Nobody's calling you a scrub. Nobody's questioning what you bring to the table, Mikal Bridges. But damn, they gave up 5 first-round picks for you. for unprotected. You got to give them more than he's been giving, right? That's number one. Number two, Anunoby shows up one game, he doesn't show up another game. The big thing last night with Josh Hart, who I love, the Energizer Bunny himself. Ill-advised turnovers. I mean, you had key possessions where the Knicks are within 6, the Knicks are within 8, the Knicks are within 3, and then just turning the ball over, not holding the ball, gaining control, setting up your offense. There's some fundamental mistakes, which, by the way, would be wise, because if you're a bit fatigued, right? It's just like Karl Malone going to the free throw line. Look, Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns going to the free throw line. Look at how he takes his time. That buys you rest. You're Josh Hart. Guess what? You grab a rebound, you sit up there, get a turnover, hold the ball. Be composed, relax, utilize this opportunity. Don't act like you brain dead in those particular sequences. They do things to get in their own way. It's like at some point you're looking at the Knicks and you're saying, you do know you ran into the ground. Didn't you complain about Tom Thibodeau needing to use the bench? I'm talking about Mikal Bridges here. Did you do that during the regular season? Did you point that out even though you're an Iron Man? If you know this kind of stuff and you know the kind of minutes that y'all are logging, you can steal moments on a basketball court where you spare and save yourself to make sure you can gumption up the energy when necessary. And unfortunately, I don't see enough thinking. And then we didn't bring up Nesmith. And from the standpoint, he comes on, he was supposed to have the injured ankle. He looked good last night. But with Jalen Brunson, when this man is guarding Jalen Brunson has more turnovers. More turnovers than assists. I mean, he's all over him. So I'm just looking at stuff like that, and I'm like, damn, opportunities lost.
I got another one for you. This is where it goes a little bit into coaching for me. And there's been a lot of things coaching-wise. We can talk about Tibbs later. Jalen Brunson, in the last 8 minutes of the fourth quarter, had 3 shots. 3.
Yeah.
3. Now, I give Naismith a lot of credit for his defense, the physicality, how that can wear you down over the course of a series. But at some point, I know Mikal Bridges got rolling, but when that thing got 2-6, it's kind of closing time. And I know yesterday I missed it with Anthony Edwards talking about making right reads. But like Stephen A., I'll give you an example because I know you love him. You know how many times I've heard MJ talk about, sometimes the right read is me taking the shot I need to take. Sometimes it's not making the right play. It's making the shot that I need to take. Down the stretch, getting the ball back, finding a way to get Jalen Brunson the ball. We need to be clutch.
Yeah.
Obviously, their defense is a thing, but it's a thing.
Yeah, but remember, Jay, there were 2 or 3 occasions where I thought he should have shot, and he gave it to Bridges, and Bridges hit those threes. Or he hit the perimeter shot. So I'm looking at that too. But in the end, again, the bigger problem is you can't have both Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns combining for 4 points in the fourth quarter. Now, that can't happen. That's what happened last night. They combined for 4 points in the fourth quarter. And this kid, Benedict Mathurin, who had 11 points total in the series, had 20 points last night in 12 minutes. Yeah. In 12 minutes. 20 points. In 12 minutes.
Side, guys. Indiana led on Tuesday, as we've mentioned, by a legendary performance from Tyrese Haliburton. Do you know he became the first player since individual turnovers were first tracked to have at least 30 points, 15 assists, and 0 turnovers in a playoff game? Now, as a reminder, last week, Jay and SA were going back and forth about whether Hallie was a superstar after his crazy Game 1 clutch shot. I want to play back a snippet of what JWill had to say.
Call it what you want to call it. He may not have the same pop as Steph. We haven't talked about him the way we talk about Edwards as the face of the league or SGA as the MVP or Big Body Brunson, but shame on us. We should be talking about him that way. And look, he is a master of nuances. The things that he does don't show up on the screen the way the normal person can see it. So me as a hooper, I'm going to start calling him a superstar because I think that's the respect he warrants.
All right, SA, what do you have to – look at Jay's face. What do you have to say about Tyrese Haliburton now?
Well, what I want to say is that I need to take off my mic and leave the rest of the show to Jay Williams and Mad Dog, because according to Jay on Get Up this morning, anybody who doesn't believe that Tyrese Haliburton is a superstar doesn't need to be talking basketball. So I guess I don't need to be talking basketball because, again, I'm not going to go that route. Tyrese Haliburton, and I want to remind everybody of this because it's very, very important, because I don't want people to look at a dude who put forth a superstar performance last night. 30, 15, and 12 with 4 steals and not a single turnover. It was a spectacular superstar caliber performance. He deserves all the credit in the world for that. I'd like to remind people, this is a man that I wanted the New York Knicks to draft, not Obi Toppin, who, by the way, I like. I wanted them to draft Tyrese Haliburton because I thought the Knicks at the time needed a point guard, and he was the right guy to take. I didn't like the fact that they didn't take Tyrese Haliburton. The brother can ball. But when I think about a superstar, I'm thinking about you being a consistent #1 option that teams have to game plan against every single night, and you answer the call. And to me, that hasn't always been Tyrese Haliburton. Even in this series, there's been a couple of games where he hasn't been there. That can happen to any superstar. I'm not implying that it doesn't. I'm simply saying I don't view him that way. Not yet. I think he's a damn good player. He's a young star in this league. I think the brother, if he continues to play this way, if he's more consistent with this kind of stuff, of course he'll be a superstar. And that doesn't mean you have to do 30 and 15 or triple-double in order to be a superstar. I'm just simply saying that there are many, many nights during the regular season where you look at Tyrese Haliburton and you find him to be a very good player. You don't view him as a star. He has been a star against the New York Knicks. There is no question about that. And he has been shown an ability to close in the first 2 series leading into the conference finals. But I don't view him that way. Not yet. That's all I'm saying. He's damn good. He's a star. He's damn good. He's a young rising star in this game. He has to keep it up. But I need to see more consistency before I give him that kind of label.
Jay, I have to agree with Stephen A. I think superstar's a little strong. I love him, too, and he had an incredible game last night. Let's give him credit, and he was great against Milwaukee in Game 5 and against Cleveland with the offensive rebound, coming back and making a 3 in Game 2. I understand he's had some superstar moments, but superstar, boy, that's a little strong. You know, Jordan's a superstar. LeBron's a superstar. Oscar is a superstar. He's not on that level yet. The guy hasn't played in NBA.
Anthony Edwards a superstar?
No. Oh, definitely not.
Steph Curry a superstar?
Yes.
Yes.
4 championships.
Giannis a superstar?
Yes. He's not on that level.
Yes.
And you cannot, and here's the other thing, we'll get to this later.
There can't be tiers of superstars?
No. Superstars, there's no tiers. You're either a superstar or you're not.
Yesterday,
Yes,
Kirk described it as selling
Totally
out
agree with Doggy on
arenas
that.
on the road.
Well, that's one of the
everybody
components.
has a different
That's
definition
not the sole component.
of a superstar. So I would say it's just to debunk a lot of what you guys have said. You're telling me that every single night the game plan isn't to stop Tyrese Haliburton? I mean, he's accounted for 7. That's the first sign of a superstar because he's the motor on the team that makes them go. You obviously saw that last game when you impact him and you meet him early, hence what you'll see OKC do or what you saw the Knicks do when you meet him early and you don't allow him to get a full head of steam because he is the offensive engine for this team. Look at that. In Game 4, he accounted for 51 of the team's points and assists. For the series, 42%. 42%. So, like, I really believe this. If Tyrese Haliburton played in New York or LA, Stephen, I feel like we would have been having some type of conversation around him being involved in the face of the league conversation. But since he plays for Indiana, it feels like today it's like a regional headline. And I think that's unacceptable. I think it's unacceptable.
Okay, all right.
It should lead every show. It's just not the fact that he had 32, 15, and 12 in a closeout game or potentially a closeout game against New York to take their soul. It's the fact that this man had 0 turnovers. And now what we're going to do is because he doesn't fit on the level of LeBron James.
Well, that's a superstar.
Let's pull up the definition of a superstar. Do we have that? Like,
I would love to hear everybody's definition of superstar because to me, I think there are layers to it, and I think he's that burgeoning layer of a superstar.
A star, as in sports or the movies, who's considered extremely talented, has great public appeal, and can usually command a high salary. One that is very prominent or is a prime attraction.
Where am I lost here? Where am I lost about what the conversation we're having against? I mean, do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want me to hit a game winner in every single series?
I agree. And how many games did Indiana win this year? They didn't win 60. They won 50. Has he ever played in a final?
Well, they had injuries.
Well, I mean, that's part of sports. Has he ever played in the final?
No.
Last year against the Celtics, they get swept?
But you can't be what do you mean? You still can't be a superstar because you never played in the finals?
I think.
What are we talking about?
That's a definition of being a superstar.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I am. I'll say that.
I'm not saying that.
I'll say that.
Come on, y'all.
Who are you? Who are
I'm
some
not-
other
I'm not
young
saying that.
superstars that you have, Jay? Give me some other names outside of the LeBron and the
I'll
Steph.
pull it
I'm
up
just
in my
curious.
notes because I wrote it down
Okay.
on my phone.
I want to see what category we have Tyrese in.
Let me pull it. You guys go ahead. I'll find it.
Well, here's one I'm going to give you right out of the gate, Steve. I'll let you fight her off. Shouldn't a superstar have won an MVP award? Has he ever finished in the top 5 in MVP? Has he ever finished in the top 5?
Listen.
Has he ever got?
Well, here's the
fifth
problem
and
with-
he hasn't. The answer's no.
Is Wemby a superstar?
Not yet.
No.
Doggy, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I'm not disagreeing with you.
No?
I'm not disagreeing with you, Doggy, but what I'm
International
saying
pro
is,
superstar.
I remember when Steph Curry had won 2 Finals MVPs and he had won 3 championships, and there were people that were still questioning his greatness because he had never won a Finals MVP. They accused him of riding the coattails of KD to some degree. Even Andre Iguodala got a Finals MVP award, stuff like that. Andre Iguodala got a Finals MVP award. He's not one of the greatest players to have ever played, even though he was a damn good player. You have Allen Iverson never won a championship. I'll be damned if he wasn't a superstar. He carried the Philadelphia 76ers on his back as a 6-foot, 165-pound dynamo. There's been plenty of people. Patrick Ewing was considered the star, but you know what? He wasn't Olajuwon. Shaquille O'Neal obviously was the diesel. So because that was what the case was, you have to look at him and you have to take into account his appeal as well. When I look at a Tyrese Haliburton, I look at a point guard that you have to game plan around, you have to pay attention to. And even though you make your money during the regular season, as they say, you make your legacy in the postseason. So I do understand where Jay is coming from because he's making his legacy during the postseason. I got that part. My point is, when you are a superstar, you are the face of a franchise. You are clearly the #1 option. You are the primary individual everybody game plans around. Night in, night out, no exception. It's Jordan coming to town. It's LeBron coming to town. It's Kobe coming to town. It's Steph coming to town. That's just the way it is. It's Jokic coming to town. It's Giannis coming to town.
Who's the face of
this is what it is.
Who's the face of the Indiana Pacers? I'm going down your own list.
Well, right now,
Wait, hold
Tyrese Haliburton.
Who's the face of the Indiana Pacers?
I'm telling you that Tyrese Haliburton is right now. That was not the case. That was not the case throughout the season.
Okay, I'm just asking you to answer the question, yes or no. These are your own questions to label superstar. True. Who's the #1 option for the Indiana Pacers to stop him? If you stop him, you win the game.
Bless you.
Thank you.
It depends. It depends on the opponent in the game.
And
what kind of game
in game
Siakam
one.
is having. It was Naismith in game 1. I'm just saying, it wasn't really Naismith in game 1. He just exploded in the fourth quarter. But the point is that it could be Siakam one night. It could be Haliburton another. It's not always consistently.
Because if you take him out of the equation, I'm just going through your list, Stephen A. If you take him out of the equation, it hinders their whole offense. It gets stalled out. The last one.
But I'm talking about what you're saying, too. We're not just talking about what I'm saying. I'm talking about what you're saying.
I'm just going down your list of what you deem to be a superstar. That's your criteria. And his name leads every category that you just named out.
Okay, is he as good as Curry?
Well, let me ask you this.
No, I'm not saying this.
Is he as good as LeBron?
There's different levels of superstars.
I don't buy that. You use that word superstar, that better be, Ohtani's a superstar.
Is Kawhi Leonard a superstar?
He's won 2. He's won.
Where does he compare to Curry? Where does he compare to LeBron?
The problem with Leonard is he's hurt so much. It's
what
hard
about Luka and KD?
Is Luka a superstar?
KD is.
KD, Luka.
Is Luka a superstar? He hasn't
played in the final.
Kyrie.
Who?
Kyrie.
May I throw something out?
There are levels
Doesn't
to
do
it
it enough.
Go ahead, Essay.
Good question.
Levels to it.
All right.
Just saying. Just to say undeniably, no, he's not. No.
Reggie Miller was a star in the NBA, but he wasn't considered on the level of a Jordan and various others. We know what Reggie Miller was, but he wasn't considered on that level. We understand that. He was a Knick killer, but when we looked at he was an elite shooter. But when we looked at Reggie Miller, for example, who obviously is the greatest pacer, and carried him to the finals, and he was the face of that franchise, it took him a while before we recognized, this is Reggie Miller. He's on a different stratosphere. Let me throw this out to you, all right? 5 NBA seasons for Haliburton, a career 17.5 point per game scorer, 2-time All-NBA player, okay? But I'm going to ask you this. Doesn't a superstar need to crack the top 10? All-NBA second team?
I said on your show.
That hasn't happened to him? Has that happened to him? Hold up. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I'll wait.
Oh, no, I said also, he's got 5 career 30-point games and 29 playoff games, all right? 5 career 30-point games or what have you. Scoring is not everything, and I get that. But my point is, usually when you're the face of the franchise and you're the number one options, I'm looking down this list from the opening tap. Second game of the season, he's had 0 points. There have been games he's had 6, 9, 4, 8, 9, 14, 4, 12,
He's not a superstar.
2, 9. I'm saying, all I'm saying to you is this. Haliburton, if he's watching, the brother is special, and his legacy is being built. He is not a scrub. He is not an average player. He is not overrated like his own peers tried to disrespect him by saying the brother can play. And he is a star emerging before our very eyes in the postseason. He shows up on the big stage. That's where you make your legacy. No disrespect, nothing but respect for him. But superstar is a bit strong. That's all we're talking about here, Jay. We're not disrespecting him. We're not saying the brother can't play. We're just saying superstars a lot.
Like I said, leading into the show, and they showed the clip, it was only a couple of weeks ago. I was like, he just cracked into that for me. So I'm saying that now.
Okay.
I'm curious. I know we can't answer it now, but I'm curious why you think the players voted him the most overrated.
I think there were only 20 to 25 players actually got involved in that vote. It wasn't like a mass audience.
And then he put their name.
You're saying it was a small pool,
yes.
So it wasn't really reflective of the league.
Well, no. It's not just that, Molly. It's not just that, Molly. There were people, and this is not fair to Tyrese Haliburton. I want to preface my comments by saying it's not fair to him. But you had people that didn't like him, didn't like his bravado, his swag, whatever. They thought it was a bit premature, and they did not like how his father annoyed people, which is what led to his father ultimately having that encounter with Giannis that got him banned from about 8 games. These are facts. That's it, the personality. But he didn't deserve that. That Haliburton did not deserve to be labeled like that.